And we know that all things work together for good to them that love God, to them who are the called according to his purpose. Romans 8:28. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we're about to make some delicious lasagna, baked Italian style. I should have waited a few minutes before cutting into it. It wouldn't be as sloppy, but let's go. Okay, so first you're gonna make sure your water is boiling before you add your noodles. I added salt as well as oil just so that the noodles do not stick anywhere to the pot. I'm gonna use about 6 noodles of lasagna because I'm not doing a big pan. I'll show you my pan after, but I'm doing a smaller pan, so I'm only going to do 6. If you're doing a regular size large pan, especially if it's deep, you might want to do at least 12. And we're going to cook that for about 8 minutes al dente, so that it's not fully cooked because it will be baking in the oven as well. Next, I'm going to cut up half a bell pepper and half an onion. And now we have our bell pepper and onion thinly sliced instead of long strips like I typically would do, because this is going to be a part of your meat sauce that's going to be incorporated into each layer of lasagna. 8 minutes have passed, so we're just going to drain our noodles and make sure they're completely dry before using them. Next, we're going to start our meat sauce with the tomato base. So we're going in with 1 jar of tomato sauce. I chose tomato and basil. You want to use a good brand. I'm always, like I say in my other videos, I am a fan of quality brand because it does make a difference in the taste. A lot of times more so than store-bought brands, just because the quality of the ingredients. Next, I'm going in with some diced tomatoes. They have garlic fire roasted. You can get whatever diced tomatoes you want. Then we're going with some tomato paste. What it does is it thickens up your sauce so that your lasagna isn't really runny, but it has a nice thickness to it. Okay, so you have your tomato paste, and you just want to go ahead in there and stir everything around. This is going to be the base of your lasagna flavor. Next, we're adding some sugar. I don't like to add too much. This is why I hate spaghetti. Growing up, my mom put a lot of sugar in spaghetti, so I hated it. But it does help with the acidity that is in tomato sauce, kind of bring balance so it's not too acidic for you. Especially if you have acid reflux, the sugar brings a balancing agent to the mix. Next, we want to season the pot, so I'm going in with some Italian seasoning. Don't be alarmed by the popping. I added some water to the mix so that it would stop the popping and let it start to cook together fluidly, because you have diced tomatoes, you have tomato paste, and you have tomato sauce. So just to get the textures moving on the same page, I added a little water to it. Next, to a skillet, we're going to add some ground beef. Now, sometimes I use 2 meats. Sometimes I use ground sausage, hot sausage. You can use sweet sausage. But today I'm sticking to ground beef. I like the taste stronger sometimes without the sausage, but it depends if you want some variety. And we're also going to add some onions and pepper. Make sure you're stirring it in very good so that the onion and pepper disperses evenly throughout it and it's not concentrated in one area. As it's cooking down, I'm going in with some minced garlic, my favorite ingredient in everything. Smells amazing in here. We also want to go in with some seasoning. We have Lowry seasoning salt. We have onion powder. garlic powder. Pepper. And some Italian seasoning once again, which has oregano, basil, a few other ingredients. You want to make sure the meat is completely brown before you add it into your tomato sauce. So as you can see, I laid out my noodles and I just patted them dry because we want to bake them dry. You don't want any liquid in the mix. And give that some more time to dry. At this point, we are ready to add our meat to our tomato sauce so that we have our meat sauce. And you also, one thing about hamburger meat or ground beef, you have a lot of oil and you don't want to add that to your lasagna. So that's why you would like to use something similar to this. So you could just scoop it out and add, scoop it out and add without getting the excess oil, or it may make your lasagna too greasy. As you can see, I scooped a lot out, the majority, and look at all that oil. So you don't want that part of it. So make sure, like I said, you scoop it with something like this that it can drain it before you even put it into this pot and combine it. Make sure you stir that around good, and then we're going to work on our cheese sauce as well. Okay, next we're going to make our spinach and cheese sauce or consistency that's going to go in between the layers. So I'm adding just some mozzarella and Colby Jack, as well as sour cream and ricotta. Okay, so we're going in with a little bit of mozzarella. I did like a cup. And I'm adding in some Colby Jack. I'm just using the last of all the cheeses I have. Okay, so I have about a cup and a half of Colby Jack and mozzarella. Next, we're going in with some ricotta, and I'm gonna do the whole entire thing. Also went in with some sour cream. I'm gonna start stirring that all together because we're gonna get ready to add our spinach. Next, I'm gonna just take some spinach and break it up into small pieces, and I'll show you what that looks like. I'm only gonna do like a handful. I'm not gonna do the whole bag. Make sure you wash your spinach. So I crumbled it up and broke it up into little pieces, and we're just gonna stir that all in. If you wanna add more, feel free to, I might. Spinach is delicious inside lasagna. Usually we don't do it like that in my family, but I decided to try it one day just to see if it would make a difference in taste, and it was a really nice touch. I might add some more to this. So I did another handful of spinach and broke it up still. So I want to stir that in good. And here we go. You have your spinach fully saturated in your cheese. As you can see, my dish is very small. Usually I do a long pan, but because this is just for home, I'm using, and I'm probably gonna have a lot left over to make another lasagna, but whatever. We're gonna start off by putting some meat sauce on the bottom. Okay. And make sure that it's evenly dispersed, a thin layer. Then I'm gonna go ahead in with my lasagna noodles on top of that. And I'm gonna probably have to cut these in half. I didn't need that many, that's why I only did 6. So I'm gonna break that up and layer it. Next, we're gonna take our cheese and we're gonna layer it onto each noodle and smooth it out. I'm gonna show you how that's done. I'm just gonna smooth it all out. as you can see, we're evenly coated our cheese consistency on top of the noodle so that it's all even. Next, we're gonna add a layer of shredded cheese. And you don't have to go too hard because I have another layer of noodles to put on it. And I have a very small pan. So this is 4 cheeses. You know, you can get the Mexican kind of shredded cheese, whatever cheese you prefer. I like a lot of variety with my cheeses so that the taste is like, you don't know what to put your finger on when you bite into it. But it's different varieties. So 1 layer of cheese. I'm adding a little mozzarella as well. And then we're going in again with another layer of meat sauce. I'm gonna spread that evenly around it. I'm gonna make sure it's very even. No corner left unturned. A little bit more. This corner here. Okay, and as you can see, I've done my final layer of noodles. I use 6 noodles total. My pot is kind of small, not super deep. But you can use more noodles if you have a larger pan. And I'm just going in with a very thin layer of our cheese consistency, not too much. Okay, I put a thin layer of the cheese sauce, and I'm gonna do 1 thin layer of meat on top of this. Okay, we have a thin layer of meat, and then I'm gonna add some of my 4 cheeses as well as some more mozzarella to the top. And then we're going in with some, that's the 4 cheeses I put, and we're just gonna add some mozzarella on top. Okay, and that's with the 4 cheeses as well as the mozzarella on top. Okay, let's get ready to bake this. Almost forgot, if you have actual parsley, top it with that. I'm just putting some parsley flakes on top. We're putting this on 350 for 45 minutes. All right. We have finally finished cooking it. I should have waited a little bit longer for it to firm up, but here we are, cutting into this delicious lasagna. And let's plate it. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share. Happy New Year!